now, right now. Right 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 now, right now. Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today, so we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since it's been out there. The government has been
Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekdaily morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the major correction that Bitcoin has witnessed over the last 24 hours. As you guys know, Bitcoin rallied initially up to $26,000 and change, but overnight, Bitcoin has rallied back into the $24,000 and $24,500 region. That is a very significant development because when you look at the price action of Bitcoin, there is a level that is very important, and that level is $25,236. If Bitcoin cannot get above $25,236 and stay up there with confidence, then Bitcoin is going to have a very difficult time going into a bull market, and in fact, it's going to have a very difficult time staying in a rally in the first place. One, because if we don't get above that level and it's not that far above us, any movement would likely be to the downside. But two, that is the critical psychological resistance level that the entire market is contending with right now. Now, the good news is, of course, Bitcoin still has that buy signal from Lux Algo, and Bitcoin also is still in a general uptrend and has broken that resistance as of just 24 hours ago. So this is not to say that the rally that we just entered is over, but it is entering a new phase that may be significantly more difficult than what we have already witnessed to date. All right, I'm really looking forward to today's stream, and I am also really looking forward to bringing you guys some information about the charts. So we're gonna go ahead and read chat. We're gonna go ahead and get you guys caught up to speed, and then I got a couple of announcements that we're gonna run over, and then we're gonna jump on to TradingView and CoinMarketCap. All right, we are a couple minutes late, so we're going to go a couple minutes over. Thank you guys so much for being patient with me as we were getting everything set up this morning. We got Daniel J in chat, said hi. Hello to you, Daniel J. Hello. We've got Chris Moe in chat, said woot. Woot indeed, Chris Moe, indeed. Mike Lowry in chat. He is one of our moderators and one of our Jebbi Knights. Thank you so much, Mike Lowry, for you being a green and a blue name. Really appreciate your continued support. We've got Thomas Post in chat, who is also a green name. Good to see you, Thomas Post, said morning fam. Good morning, Thomas Post. We got Eric Ward in chat. Alex Nybo. GB said, I'm pregnant. Congratulations. That's awesome. That's really awesome to hear. That's amazing. I actually have an announcement in regard to our pregnancy here in just a little bit. Stephen Young said, I'm here. Good to see you, Stephen Young. We got Adam Rorick. Crypto Mini Bike Queens in chat. We got Win Peoples in chat. Win Peoples responded to the tweet that I posted last night. I will definitely show that here in a second. So shout out to you, Win Peoples. You were all over it over on Twitter. You got back to that tweet really quick. Jebb, why am I so thick? I don't think I'm that thick. I'm actually pretty skinny, but if you're wondering, I'm wearing a hoodie today, so that might be why. I have some painting to do today. Teaser. I'm not going to tell you what that's about just yet, but I'm pretty excited. We've got some painting to do, so I've got a plain white t-shirt under this to do some painting in, so that's why I'm wearing a hoodie. It's also very cold outside today. Like spring sprung, people in Florida are saying, yeah, spring sprung forward and then sprung forward so hard that we sprung back into winter because now it's actually cold in Florida again. It's probably the coldest it's been the entire time. Hola, Jebb, ¿cómo estás? Dios te bendiga. Oh, muchas gracias. Dios te bendiga. What? Igualmente. That's what I was trying to say. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you so much, Sarah. My wife is a native Spanish speaker, so she's over here feeding me answers. Thank you so much for that. Igualmente. That's the word I was looking for. What is the word for also? Not igualmente. There's another word for also. También. That's the word I was looking for. I was gonna say it and then say también. There we go. All right. Guys, I do have a couple of special announcements, and then we're going to jump straight into the charts. I promise I'll make this quick. We did have an ultrasound yesterday, and we found out that our daughter is huge. She is 6 pounds, 10 ounces, and we're not even 35 weeks yet. So Sarah's pretty scared about that. So you guys could be praying for her. But yeah, so she might be coming sooner than we thought, because it is very possible that the due date was wrong. We've been going off of the due date of April 20th. The ultrasound, they didn't tell us this, but I saw it flash on the screen, said the adjusted due date was April 5th based on how big she is. So it is very possible that even if she comes full term, that our baby's going to be here in the next week to 3 weeks. Could be tomorrow for all we know. So we don't really know. We're kind of getting into that period where at any moment, kind of drop of the hat, wow, we're going into labor and we're having a baby. So just keep that in mind, guys. Over the next month, at some point within the next 4 weeks, almost certainly our daughter will be here. And naturally, if I'm on stream, I'm going to have to say, bye, I'll see you guys here in a little bit. But, and of course, I may take a few days off of streaming. I'll probably be streaming from the house for the first 2 weeks. That's kind of the plan. I'm going to do everything I can to keep regular content coming up as consistently as I possibly can. But naturally, having a new baby and we already have a toddler, I'm going to be very needed to make sure that everything's, running smoothly and helping my wife and my new daughter as much as I possibly can. So we'll probably be a little bit thrown off on content there for a couple of weeks, but I actually think we'll end up being pretty consistent with the stream. I do think I'll be able to stream every single day, even if it's not as much of a consistent stream as I would like. And as I said, I also wanted to give a shout out to Win Peoples. And by the way, so thank you guys for all of your prayers for the for our baby. She's in perfect health as far as we can tell. Now, I do want to give another shout out here to something that I'm working on. My father-in-law is a missionary, and he has a tent meeting going on through the rest of this week in Williston, Florida. I'm not going to go over this too long right now. I'm going to mention it again at the end of the stream, but I will be here every single night through the rest of these meetings, and I would love for you guys to come. You can take a screenshot of this. You can see where they are. This is the address right here. I will be here. You can come meet me if you want. So if you're in Florida, please make the drive. We would love to talk to you about the Lord Jesus Christ. Every single night through Sunday, March 19th, we'll be starting at 7 p.m. I'm the one doing all the videography down there with my stream setup, so you can come and see myself, meet me, and you can also see the word be preached, and we would love to have you guys. So make sure you come on down to the big tent meeting, if you will. There's a song called Tent Revival. There's a really great song about that. Anyway, we would love for you guys to come. Plenty of room for you, and we would love to see you down there. So if you want to meet me, and if you want to see what we're working on, come on down. We'd love to see you. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump on to CoinMarketCap. As you guys can see, Bitcoin is currently trading at $25,000. It is down 3.88% over the last 24 hours. It is up 13% over the last 7 days, up 50% year to date. That's pretty easy to see because Bitcoin's trading at 25. It was trading at about 16.5 at year's beginning. So that makes a lot of sense. A couple of big psychological levels are being tested right now. First and foremost, we've got Bitcoin coming up on $500 billion. It actually did breach $500 billion yesterday when it pushed up to $26,000 ever so slightly. If we look here on Bitcoin and we look at the market capitalization chart over the last 7 days, you'll see we actually did breach above $500 billion briefly. And I would argue this is actually one of the major levels of resistance that Bitcoin ran into. Of course, Bitcoin was running into this uptrending level of resistance right here, but that wasn't the only level it ran into because, of course, we can see it ran into $500 billion as a psychological barrier. We did end up getting to $509 billion, so we overshot just a little bit, but nevertheless, I believe it would be pretty obvious to you that that was the major level that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency rejected from. Now, going back out here to CoinMarketCap, taking a look at some other things, ETH is sitting at $16.75. That's great. We love to see it. I would like to see ETH sitting up over $2,000 because there's some very significant resistance up there that Ethereum breaking above would be very healthy for Bitcoin and the total market to break above. You can see year to date, Ethereum is up 40% and is sitting just above $200 billion. That's a pretty comfortable level for Ethereum to be at. It likes to sit up here around that $200 billion mark recently. If you look at market capitalization over the last 3 months, it's generally kind of hovering in that $200 billion range, except for recently when it dropped down to 168. And then, of course, on this huge CPI FOMO-driven rally, market cap for ETH rallied 33%, rallied all the way up to $216 billion, and is currently still sitting above 200. We definitely love to see ETH sitting above $200 billion. That would be absolutely for the best. We've got Cardano down here. It is down 7.53%, and that's something that is kind of to be expected. Oftentimes, Cardano is going to be extremely volatile. It is very, very common for Cardano to be very volatile. Whenever Bitcoin moves 3%, many times. Cardano is going to move 5 or 10. And that's what we're seeing happen right now. Cardano is still doing very well. It is up 34% year to date, and it is doing very well on the side of its development. But of course, its price action is going to be heavily driven by the rest of the market as a result of it being a lower cap cryptocurrency, only worth $11 billion. I say only worth $11 billion, but if you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum being worth collectively nearly $700 billion, Cardano is, of course, the small fry in that ecosystem right now. Binance USD still pegged to $1, has not lost its peg, but it is losing its market cap. It's sitting at $8.3 billion market cap. Solana sitting at 7.8, like a hungry wolf waiting to pounce on that number 10 spot so that Solana can come back and say, ha, we are number 10 still. The tricky thing for Solana is that BUSD has kind of stopped its just continual shedding of market cap. It's still sitting here at $8.4 billion. Couldn't exactly tell you why, but I think part of it would be that I think there's some big money institutional players that are holding on to BUSD, and there could be some idea behind the scene of how to resurrect that stablecoin. So it's potential. There is a potential that either people don't want to sell it for a certain reason, or that there is some hope out there in somebody's mind that's holding a few $100 million worth of BUSD that perhaps the cryptocurrency could be resurrected. We'll see what happens with that. We're going to have to wait for news to come out on that front. Solana sitting at 7.8 billion, Polkadot sitting at 7.2 billion. Pretty solid, guys. Just remember, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are still doing very well. To date, you have to go down to rank number 52 to find a cryptocurrency that is worth less than $1 billion market capitalization. That is insane. When I first got into the cryptocurrency space, well, here, you don't have to take my word for it. Let me show you. Come to CoinMarketCap, go over cryptocurrencies, go to historical snapshots, go back to when I got into the space. July 31st of 2017. They do a snapshot every week. The closest day was July 30th, so forgive me, it's a day off. Look at the market cap. You don't even have to go out of the top 10 to see market caps under $1 billion. There were 7 cryptocurrencies over $1 billion. There was only 3 over $5 billion and only 2 over $10 billion. If you go back to regular old CoinMarketCap and just look at the market, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cryptocurrencies over $10 billion market capitalization. BUSD is worth more market cap wise right now than Bitcoin was when I got into the space, because Bitcoin's worth over 10 times, or excuse me, almost 10 times as much as it was back then. Now there's also more circulating supply, so that manipulates things a little bit, but market cap wise, it is worth over 10 times as much as it was. And you can go all the way down to the top 17, and you'll still find crypto is worth over $5 billion. So whenever we do our price snapshots here, I like to give you a little bit of encouragement that, hey, the sky's not falling, the world's not ending. Bitcoin and crypto are doing very well. And, you know, that's not as relevant right now because obviously Bitcoin's doing pretty well over the last few days, so it's easier for people to think, great, Bitcoin's doing well. But of course, I know that the overall climate, the overall sentiment of things has been and probably will remain pretty bearish for Bitcoin. I'm not saying the price will remain bearish, but I'm saying the major impactors on Bitcoin, like the Fed, the balance sheet, the Fed rate, the balance sheet, the SPY, the Dixie, the effective federal funds rate. I already said that. The war in Ukraine, the tensions between Russia and the United States, the tensions between China and the United States, deglobalization, demographical crisis, water crises, food crises that are coming in the next 6 months. For everybody who is in a developing country, you're going to, especially if you're in North Africa, you're probably going to have a difficult time with food this coming fall. And that's a very sad thing to say, but with the way that the world is working right now and the way that things are falling apart and Ukraine and Russia are offline, that's going to be a big problem as well. So there's this overarching rain clouds sitting over the market, and I know that can be discouraging, but I do just want you to remember that Bitcoin has done a wonderful job weathering this storm, staying above $250 billion market capitalization the entire time, as far as I can remember. Let me just fact check myself on that. I don't think we went below $250 billion. Nope, we never went below 350 billion. Sorry, we never went below 300 billion, let alone 250 billion. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are doing phenomenally. We are very, 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 very excited about Bitcoin and where it is heading. And by the way, guys, yes, just a quick reminder, that meeting is in Williston, Florida, so we would love to have you there. I'm going to be there tonight, running the video for the sermons. I've been there the last 3 nights. I was a full 3 nights. I've recorded the last 2 nights. for them. So make sure you guys come. I would love to see you there. Love to meet you guys in person. But it's not about me. It's about the Lord Jesus. But if you'd like to meet me, then sure, make the trip to meet me. But come to meet Jesus, and that's what we want. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump straight onto the chart. Bitcoin is doing very, very, very well over the last week, generally speaking. From the absolute bottom to the absolute top of the last week of price action, Bitcoin has rallied $7,000 in the span of 4 days. Now, there are a couple of things here that are deeply concerning for the price. I want you to do me a favor. Go to cryptojebb.com. This is our website. Scroll down and go to Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis. Scroll down with me over here, and you will see this section right here. It's called Introduction to the Subject of Technical Analysis. In here, we have tons of different videos on candlestick analysis. When you join Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis, I want you to come and watch this video right here. And I also want you to watch this video right here, number 20, number 23. Shooting star, spinning top. Now, after you've done that, come back over here. What are these two candlesticks? This is a shooting star. This is a spinning top. Candlestick analysis would have given us an idea that something was up yesterday. I'm sorry, not yesterday. Last week, Friday and Saturday, when we started this major rally. Knowing that CPI data was coming in, we had a feeling that there was going to be some bullishness. Now, I'll be honest with you, I did not quite totally expect Bitcoin to rally straight to 26.5 in the span of 3 days. I actually did say that it was possible, and I did warn you guys that that could happen. Because we could have a bigger CPI drop. But this was like the most bullish scenario. But if you roll back to right here, then you're going to find something very similar that called the reversal that moved us to the upside very aggressively, but this time it was bullish. We saw a hammer. Remember, back to this video that somehow you just compressed time and went and watched in the middle of this stream. The hammer formation right here is the inverse of the shooting star. A hammer formation looks like this. A shooting star formation looks like this. They both tell you the exact same thing, except in the inverse. The hammer, it looks like a mallet. That's why it's called a hammer. The hammer formation tells you that the bulls bought the market up exceptionally quickly. The bears tried to move the market to the downside very fast, and they failed. And then the shooting star formation, which looks a little something like this. I'm sorry, not the shooting star. Not the shooting star. The spinning top looks a little something like this. That indicates indecision because you have these two long arms. I mean, think about like if you're a skater, you're a figure skater, and you stick your arms out. The centrifugal force is going to pull your hands away from your body. That's why it's called a spinning top, is because it looks like a dreidel. It's spinning. Either it's spinning like this or it's spinning like that, but regardless, it has these two long arms to it, and that tells us that there is indecision in the market. When you combine both of them, especially in this format, where you also have just the candle bodies. Now, don't look at the candle wicks here for a second, but you just look at the candle bodies, and you have a spin, and you have a bullish engulfing candlestick formation, where you have a larger green candlestick body than you do a red candlestick body that preceded it, and the wicks are telling you that this is almost a perfect bullish setup. And if we had been live Saturday, that's exactly what I would have told you. This was almost a perfect bullish setup. It doesn't get much better than that. CPI data is coming in the next couple of days. If we were live Saturday, I would have ended up telling you, based on these candlesticks and based on the fact that CPI data is coming in, we're probably going to see at least a 0.1% drop, that you're likely about to see a rally to at least $23,000. Well, we didn't see a rally to at least $23,000. We saw a rally to at least $26,000. We almost hit 27. That's, of course, not only because of the candlesticks here, but because CPI data came back so big. We saw a 0.4% drop, not just 0.1 like we did in February. But the reason that I bring up these candlesticks is because now we're seeing the exact opposite. Whereas last Friday and Saturday, we were seeing the bullish counteraction, the bullish components here. We're seeing a hammer, which was a bullish reversal pattern. We were seeing a spinning top signaling indecision and signaling that there was lack of confidence in the downtrend. Now we're seeing the opposite. We've seen a major rally driven by CPI. Keep that in mind. Driven by CPI. That CPI data has now dropped and is now fully priced in. You're not going to see CPI data drop for another month. The next time that'll happen will be April 12th. I'll go ahead and draw that here on the chart just so that you are aware of it right here. We're not getting another CPI drop that's going to give us infusion in the market for another month. So now Bitcoin has to rally of its own merit. And as I told you yesterday, that's a little tricky because Bitcoin doesn't have a lot of its own bullish fundamentals right now. What do I mean? I'm not going to say it doesn't have its own merit. Bitcoin has a huge amount of merit. That's why it's worth $500 billion and why it's been worth multiple $1 trillion before, and it will go back there. It has plenty of its own merit. It doesn't have very much interest right now. It doesn't exactly have a lot of focus and attention being poured in towards it. So Bitcoin is going to have to continue this rally based upon its own bullish fundamentals, based upon the hype within the space, and that, my friends, will be difficult. The fact that we did not manage to stay above $25,000 yesterday is a very hard thing for two reasons. Number one, the way that we didn't manage to stay above $25,236 is troubling. We saw the shooting star. That is a bearish reversal pattern indicating reversal from an uptrend to a downtrend. Likewise, we are currently building on the daily chart. Now, this candlestick is far from closed. This could change dramatically depending on how Bitcoin moves today. But if we don't move, if we trade sideways, then Bitcoin is highly likely to end up with a spinning top, which is the exact same bearish formation we saw over here, except this is a green, not a red candle body, which means it's not also a bearish engulfing candlestick formation. Of course, that would have been even more bearish. But other than this being a bullish engulfing candlestick formation, this not being, but this still being green, this is actually a pretty bearish set of candlesticks right here. And it's also concerning for a second reason. Remember, the first reason is the way that it didn't manage to hold above $25,000. The second part is just the fact that it didn't, and the fact that it's using it as resistance. If you'll remember yesterday, what I told you very simply was that I wanted to see Bitcoin break above, and we streamed yesterday while it was up here at the peak, actually. So I can just show you. We were live right here. From right there, I'll go to the 5-minute chart just so you can see a little bit easier. We streamed from there. Actually, I'm sorry. We started at 10:30 because we were a little bit late. We started at 10:30 and we streamed through 11:30. I will show you right here. That's the window that we were live yesterday. And while we were live yesterday, I told you that we're probably going to come back down. And we're probably going to back test $25,000 and hopefully we hold it. Hopefully we hold it and bounce. That is not what occurred. Instead, Bitcoin has come down and backtested this region of resistance at $24,500 that we've been talking about so much over the last several weeks. If you've been watching this channel, I've been talking about $24,500 like a broken record for 3 weeks. And it was used as the resistance before this run-up very early on Monday. Very early on Monday, yes. And then we, on Tuesday, of course, we saw that CPI data drop in Bitcoin, and we managed to see a major run. That CPI data dropped right there. All right. So we were using 24.5 as resistance. Now we're using it as support. That's wonderful. The hard thing is that we're also using 25.236 as resistance. That's not good. Because if you'll remember, yesterday I drew this box right here. This box right here. This one. The reason I drew that box is because that constitutes a major valley in the VRVP. Look at the VRVP. Where's the price action? There's none. It's empty. Nothing has happened between 25,236 and 28,545 except for passing through that region over the span of just a couple of days here and here. Otherwise, in the history of Bitcoin, we've spent a grand total of like 4 days in between that region, and one of them was yesterday. Maybe 5 or 6. I mean, we did spend about 4 or 5 days over here. The point is, there's not a lot there. So if you break 25,236, then you, theoretically anyway, if you have the bullish momentum, don't have a lot standing in the way between yourselves and 28.5. That's the hard thing. If we didn't have anything standing in our way yesterday, when we broke above 25,236, and there was nothing stopping us going from $28,545, then what did? Let me reiterate that. If there was nothing stopping us, technically, fundamentally, from going to 28,545. There is one thing. That was the $500 billion market capitalization level that I showed you on CoinMarketCap a minute ago. Now you see why I showed you that. Other than that, if there was not much stopping us on the chart from going to 28,545, why didn't we? Well, and I hate to break it to you guys, that doesn't leave a lot other than the bulls just didn't have the strength to go to 28,545. And that's hard because the bulls had just gotten an infusion of strength from the CPI drop. And that's gone. That's not coming back for a month. The bulls were the strongest that they will be for the next month, bar some major black swan event, or I mean, maybe in this case, white or golden swan event, coming in and making them stronger. At the moment anyway, Bitcoin is not going to be any more bullish today, tomorrow, or this week than it was here. As far as I can tell, guys, Bitcoin kind of blew its shot to be above 25,236, and I don't think it's going to get another really strong one for a little while. Now, that being said, I don't want to be too much of a Debbie Downer because, of course, Bitcoin is still sitting up here in very, very bullish territory. But even as we speak, look, Bitcoin's having trouble. Bitcoin is having difficulty. This looks like a rounding top, by the way. It could be a head and shoulders pattern forming here on the 1 hour chart. If you look at the 1 hourly chart, shoulder, head, shoulder. Price target, simple. From here to here, extrapolate, 22 grand. What's at $22,000? Oh, you'll remember. We've talked about that a lot. It's 22,808. Where's that been this whole time? It's sitting right there waiting to catch Bitcoin. If you remember 22,808, that is the level that came in clutch over here as our resistance at 800 hours on Tuesday, the 13th of September, 2022, about 6 months ago. 22,808 is our major level that we are watching closely. Apologies, I am still overcoming a cold. All right, 22,808 could be that level that we would be pushing towards because, as you can see, that head and shoulders pattern would likely push us somewhere in that direction. It is therefore highly possible and somewhat likely that you see Bitcoin lose a few $1,000s of price action over the next couple of days. And if it does, then essentially what we've done is we've completely and totally repeated mid-February. Essentially what we've done is we've totally, just completely done the exact same thing that we did in mid-February. So if you remember, I'll draw the vertical line. CPI data report in February came in right here. Bitcoin rallied a lot, but it didn't have a whole lot of other bullish factors to help prop it up. We've got Silicon Valley Stoic just donated $5. Thank you so very much. I'm glad that that's not Silicon Valley Bank. They'd probably get in trouble for giving $5 to some random YouTuber. But thank you very much, Silicon Valley Stoic. I'm sure there's no affiliation there. Anyway, Bitcoin in February, the biggest bullish event it had was the CPI report. After that came into play, major correction followed. Is the same thing going to happen here? I think that really comes down to one thing. Can Bitcoin break above 25,236, which is that critical, visceral level that Bitcoin must get above that we've been talking about since, I don't know, like, let's see, probably about here. We've been talking about 25,236 since before the market was testing it this year. We've been talking about it since back here, just so you know, since like mid-January. And Bitcoin, of course, has gone forward and tested it multiple times. The problem is that if you don't see Bitcoin manage to break through that level, then it is still in this accumulation. It's still in this accumulation zone. Essentially, let me go to the daily chart, and I'll make this very, very cut and dry. I'll make this very simple for you guys. I'll make this as simple as I possibly can. Let's go to another chart. I will try and find a Bitcoin chart that doesn't have a bunch of drawings on it. This chart, I think I can remove this one. That's my price target for the end of the year. Hint, hint, video coming up on that pretty soon. Anyway, 25,236 and then 28,545. Let's draw them. 28,545. I'm just going to make this as glaringly obvious and easy to understand as I possibly can. 25,236 is our resistance. There is a zone right here. This zone looks something like this. We're going to turn it to red for resistance. Give me a red. Give me my coordinates. 25,236. Give me 28,545. Here's our resistance zone. Again, I will make this as crystal clear as I possibly can. Below this zone, you're in accumulation. I feel like a Khan Academy teacher right now. Below that zone, you're in accumulation. Above that zone, you're in bull market. Bull has 2 M's. It's that simple. It really is that straightforward, guys. If we get and break above that big level of 25,236 and above 28,545, you're in a bull market. All right? We're in a giant bull market. And it's possible that that bull market could just give us this giant multi-year long head and shoulders pattern that looks kind of like a smiley face with a little nose right here. And then it will rally to the upside to $150,000. Or not. Maybe it just moonshots. Nevertheless, I'll show you my price target for the end of the year. I do believe that Bitcoin's going right here. I'll show you. Go to the weekly chart. I'll draw a box, and we'll call it a day. Out here on the daily chart, I do think that we're going to see this take place. Just go ahead and draw this. I'll set it to the green color. It's probably going to come out orange. Don't make fun of me. I am colorblind. That's a problem in our today's society. Anyway, joking. As you can see, this is kind of the price target that I'm looking for right here. I think you're going to see Bitcoin push up above this zone in the next couple of months, hopefully as a result of CPI data. Hopefully it could do that today. That would be wonderful, but if not, it's going to have trouble. Anyway, I do think that there's a high likelihood that we could be sitting up here by the end of the year, but this is kind of a high price target, just so you know. It's very possible Bitcoin struggles to get up there. So a little bit simple analysis, but I just wanted to show you what the prediction is there. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into it. What does it look like down on the hourly chart? Down on the hourly chart, let's look at some technical indicators. RSI sitting above 50, managed to hold there. Love it. MACD pulling back down to the zero level. Not great, but could cross bullish if Bitcoin gets any kind of bullish momentum. Problem. On the hourly chart, we've got a spinning top and a shooting star. Same deal we just saw on the daily chart. And now we're capitulating and moving to the downside over the last couple of, 40 minutes or so. And we've got this long upper wick. We've also got a spinning top up here, a shooting star. Let's just remove these candle bodies so we can see the wicks. Those vertical lines so we can see the wicks. You can see we've got a bunch of massive high candlesticks up here. 2 spinning tops. Guys, these were not great candlesticks. This was not looking that great. We saw this massive long lower wick. That was great. We saw this massive long lower wick. Same here. Those are 3 hammer formations. And then also a bullish engulfing candlestick formation here. A green, red, green. We had a bull doji. All kinds of candlesticks coming in here for the first 12 hours that were bullish of this correction. Now the opposite. We're seeing a spinning top. What does that mean? It means the sideways action is uncertain. Not really. It actually refers back to the trend. The trend is to the downside. That could be bullish. But the problem is that that could be bullish, but it's definitely not leaning in that direction. A spinning top on a sideways action whenever the original trend was to the downside. This is actually, in my opinion, referring back to this and saying that this shorter term trend is invalid and we should go back to the longer term trend. That's what that spinning top is telling me. Same thing right here is telling me I don't know about this sideways nonsense. I think we might have to go back to the original trend. And then we saw the shooting star right there. Not looking too hot on the hourly chart. Just going to be quite honest with you there. Now, the 4-hour chart looks a little bit different. We've got a hammer formation that came into play here, but we've also got the spinning top indicating the sideways action is not that confident, and we've got a long upper wick going on right there on the last 4-hourly chart, and we've got a bearish MACD cross. RSI just dropped below its 14 4-hourly simple moving average, and it is currently dropping down into the 60s, indicating that the bulls are losing strength. Remember, the RSI is not designed for bullish and bearish divergences and overbought and oversold signals. The RSI is actually designed to tell you who's in charge and where the strength is. That's why it's called the relative strength index, not the relative divergence index or the relative overbought and oversold index. It's called the relative strength index. It is designed to give you the strength of the bulls and the bears. And very clearly, the strength of the bulls has been decreasing and the bears have been getting stronger. The question now is, how much of a grip can the bears get? Now, by the way, I'm not trying to say that you can't use RSI for divergence and for overbought and oversold signals. Those things are well and fine too, but it was actually designed to give you the strength of the bulls and the bears, which is extremely important. Let's take a look at Lux Algo, one of our favorite technical indicators. If you guys don't have Lux Algo, plain and simply, you guys are missing out. This indicator is awesome. Make sure to check it out. The link in the description box down below. TradingView is giving me a little bit of trouble. Let me go ahead and set that up. That glitch right there that you guys just saw, that was actually not on Lux Algo. That was actually going to be TradingView's issue. I'm not sure what was going on there, but when you're dealing with such complicated code as this, it does get a little bit tricky. Let's go ahead and set this back up. 12. You guys can see how I set up my TradingView, my everything here. 1226. I need my trend catcher, my reversal zones. I want my confirmations and my confirmation plus exits. There we go. All right, looking here at our Lux Algo, we are in a buy signal. We are in a buy, but it has not been a strong buy this entire time. Notice that. Or in fact, excuse me, I think that I need to go in here and switch a setting. I'm sorry, because I looked at that, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not a strong buy, really? All right. Well, that is giving me a little bit of, looks like I'm going to need to, strong buy, strong sell. Let's see if I can set those on. Those are my alerts. Anyway, I'll come back to that here in a minute, but just so you guys know, we are in that buy signal on the 4-hourly chart. On the hourly chart, we're running into probably a little bit of little bit of trouble. Let's let it pull up here. Yeah, there's a confirmed sell signal. I hadn't actually pre-analyzed that, but just looking at the chart, I was like, I think there's going to be a sell signal here. And in fact, there was. There's a sell signal going on right now, and that is confirmed on Trend Catcher. Now, 4-hourly chart, that's obviously not there. 2-hourly chart, I'm not sure. Let's see if it's here. I think it might be here on the signal, maybe not on the Trend Catcher. Let's give it a second to load. No, it is. It's a confirmed sell signal on the 2-hour chart. Wow, 4-hourly chart isn't there yet, but on the 4-hourly chart, just remember, we broke into the reversal zones, and then we broke into them again. Those were two great rallies that we saw here on Monday at 8 a.m., and then also at 8 a.m. on Tuesday of yesterday. It is 10:43 a.m., and we have not seen the same thing happen this day, except we've seen the market drop out of the reversal zone. One of the things that Sean, the creator of Lux Algo, taught me, and that has been extremely helpful in my analysis, is the fact that whenever you drop into the reversal zones or rally into the reversal zones, and then you break out of them in a moment like here or here or here, I'll just go ahead and draw some of these examples, or here on the 4-hourly chart, and then I turn off everything. Let's just turn off all of our drawings and turn off all of our indicators. Look at the way this market looks. Oh, well, that's going to turn off all my drawings. These are the areas where Bitcoin traded sideways out of the reversal zone. Obviously, we were having a correction here. Obviously, we had a correction here, had a correction here, had a correction here, and now we might be seeing the exact same thing. Because when you fall out of the reversal zone on Lux Algo, oftentimes that is indicating bearish strength. Unfortunately for you guys, and for anybody who was in a long that might have wanted to close at $26,000, I can't tell you for certain. Obviously, I could never do that because that would be me trying to guarantee the future, which is completely impossible. But I can tell you with quite a bit of confidence at this moment that I think unless some kind of big, strong, bullish signal comes into play in the next couple of days, I do think Bitcoin is going to have a very difficult time breaking above 25,236, and I think it's going to have a hard time doing a whole lot of anything. We're probably going to see a lot of sideways ranging over the next 3 to 7 days as Bitcoin contends with the fact that it doesn't have the bullishness to break above 25, but there's a lot of hopium in the space that it will, but that hope might just not be strong enough to push us up there. Remember, guys, until we break above that zone, as I showed you on this other chart, I mean, I literally spelled it out. I mean, I normally don't do that, but I literally straight up spelled it out with the pen tool here in TradingView. I spelled it out as clearly as I can. Now, I know my handwriting looks even worse on a screen than it does with a pencil, but I think I made it pretty obvious. If we don't get above this zone, no bull market. It's that simple. So, how do we get above that zone? I suppose that should be one of our final questions. Well, you don't have a lot of bearishness and you wait for bullishness. If Bitcoin this time doesn't collapse all the way down here like it did in the month of February following that CPI report, and perhaps it stays above 22,808, maybe if it's bullish enough, it could wait until we have another CPI drop, and maybe we drop 0.2, 0.3%. We managed to break up here above $25,000. We build enough VRVP support between $22,000 and $25,000 that Bitcoin just then has a giant block of support sitting above 21.5, which is another level. Don't forget, 21.5 is also a level that we set based on our support that we drew, or that we set back here on November the 4th. If we're managing to stay above 21.5, then that's kind of good enough. This market just needs to build enough confidence that it actually can break above $25,000 by first building confidence that it actually can stay above $21,500. If that occurs, if Bitcoin is able to stay at least above 21.5 this month, the next month's CPI report, if it's bullish at all, even if it's 0.1%, could come in and give us the momentum that we need. Now, a couple of other things that could take place. We could see the Dixie and the SPY cooperating this month. That is potentially in the cards. It's hard to tell right now. Let's take it one at a time. The SPY's having difficulty, guys. People were hoping that the SPY was going to come in clutch and it was going to help Bitcoin go through this giant rally because it rallied for a day. It rallied a little bit the first 2 days of this week. That's kind of ending. You look at the SPY right now. What's it doing? It's having a lot of difficulty. We were on a little bit of a corrective bounce. We were on a secondary movement, whereas the primary movement was to the downside. We were on a secondary bullish movement and just so happened to do that when CPI came in. Now, that secondary bullish movement probably occurred as a result of CPI coming in, so that makes sense. But Bitcoin and the SPY jumped together. Great. Whoop-de-doo. That's not a trend that I think is going to continue. I mean, the SPY could bounce relatively soon off of a line like this. This is a trend line to pay attention to for sure. And we've also got other trend lines, such as this one, that potentially the stock market could hold on. But guys, that's going to be hard. Let's look at our moving averages here. I think there's some moving averages here. Aha. Man, that is so crazy. I love technical analysis. Guys, I've been doing this for 6 years almost. And maybe I just remembered this from a while ago. But I did not plan that. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. I was like, wait a minute. I think the moving average out on the weekly chart, what is it, the 200, I think it was? Yeah, I think the 200 moving average on the weekly chart is going to be a level of support for it to be looking for. It just kind of came into my head, and I turned it on. I'm like, wait a minute, it's there. Seriously, look. That's what I call chart vision. That's where you can just, boom, you can just see it. I'm like, I just know there's going to be a moving average there. And sure enough, there is a moving average here that we bounced off of before. And maybe I remembered it from 4 months ago. I don't know. But I was just like, man, I bet that's here. Anyway, this moving average here, the 200 weekly moving average, is basically the 4-year average for the SPY, is sitting at 370. So that could be support. SPY could instigate a major recovery from there. That would be an equal low, not quite an equal low, a little bit higher low than what we saw in June of last year. Maybe the SPY can set a major bounce soon, and if so, that could help Bitcoin. That would probably be taking place moving into next month, though, because the SPY, for it to hit any of those levels of support and bounce confidently, it probably needs a couple of weeks to really build that confidence. So I would really say that right in here somewhere could be a big, well, I mean, I suppose that's not really valid because it can't go back in time, but somewhere in here, we'll just go ahead and draw this. Somewhere right in here, the SPY could end up finding major support and then bouncing somewhere like this. Any of these options are possible and going through a big bounce. And if so, that could give Bitcoin the bullishness it needs. That would probably be a secondary bounce because this is a general bear market in stocks. So keep in mind that if we did bounce here, we would probably end up struggling with this downtrend right here on the SPY, which means that we probably wouldn't get above 400, or at least not very far above 400, and the stock market would not be able to give Bitcoin the kind of boost that it needs through the summer. That's kind of the problem I'm talking about here, is that as I've mentioned with the SPY, with the Dixie, with the funds rate, the housing market, the war in Ukraine, the boiling war in the South China Sea, or in the sea just off the China Sea, the Yellow Sea, there are a lot of bearish factors that are not helping Bitcoin's case here. It's really going to have to go into a bull market of its own accord. It's not going to be able to rely on $5 trillion being injected into treasuries and mortgage-backed securities like it did last time. It's going to have to go into a bull market on its own if it's going to, and that will make it harder. That will make it significantly harder. I think $40,000 to $55,000 is a very high price target by the end of this year, but I do think it's possible. And to be honest with you, after seeing what I'm seeing today, I'm kind of tempted to adjust at $5,000 to the downside. Nevertheless, I do think Bitcoin is in good shape fundamentally. I do think it is going to do very well, but the winds of change are not blowing in the direction that is best suited for Bitcoin to grow. Now, looking here as well at the Dixie. The Dixie is moving up again. For a while, it was going down, and that helped Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin went up almost exactly as the Dixie went down. Dixie, over just the last few days, over the last few hours, has put into play a huge rally. You look here at the Dixie. Over the last just 12 hours, massive rally. What's that going to do to Bitcoin? It's going to wipe out the gains that you're looking for on Bitcoin because the Dixie is a counter trend. Whenever you see Bitcoin going down, it's normally because Dixie's going up. Whenever you see Bitcoin going up, it's normally because Dixie's going down. What's my point? Bitcoin had a bullish week. It did very well for 3 or 4 days because of CPI. CPI is about the only technical factor, the only fundamental macroeconomic factor that is batting 100 for Bitcoin. Everything else is definitely making it harder. The SPY is making it harder. The balance sheet is making it harder. Let me run through as many as I can. The SPY is making it harder. We have a video on that. You can check it out. That video is titled How the Fed is Making $17 Trillion Vanish. The SPY is making it a lot harder for Bitcoin. The balance sheet over the Fed is making it harder. That video we have on our channel, that's titled the Fed's plan to burn $9 trillion. You can find that video on the channel as well. Both those videos will give you a lot of information about what the Fed is doing and how it is impacting Bitcoin, because they are the biggest driver of the Bitcoin price right now, whether you realize it or not. Jerome Powell is the one pulling the shot, is the one calling the shots in Bitcoin, and he's not even trying to. It's just what he's doing is having a huge impact on it. He might be trying to, but I think most of it's them trying to manipulate the United States economy, whether it be for better or for worse. You also have the war in Ukraine. That brings about huge geopolitical instability. That makes things very difficult for stocks. That makes things very difficult for the average American because prices of goods are going up, because now manufacturing supply chains and supply lines all over the world are broken. China going offline is doing the exact same thing. They are disintegrating demographically. I actually just saw a report this morning that they're going to gradually increase the age of retirement. Of course, that's happened in the United States. It went from 65 under Reagan to 67, I think, this year for full benefits. That's probably going to be a trend that continues around the world. You'll probably see age of retirement by that. Like, I'm 22. Age of retirement, when I get to retirement, will probably be 75. Because of that concern. But China is going offline for that reason. That drives the prices of everything up, leading to more inflation, leading to, yes, the reason why you should buy Bitcoin because it's anti-inflationary, but also it means that people don't have the money to buy Bitcoin because now they have less money because they have to spend more every single month. All of those factors make things very difficult for Bitcoin. So, what does Bitcoin do here? Kind of just sits there and twiddles his thumbs, waiting for an opportunity. All tech has to do that, though, doesn't it? Computers, they were called, mathematical machines, I think, back before the Second World War, were largely novelties that existed somewhere in some nerd's basement or a university dorm somewhere. And then the Enigma was created by the Germans, and computers became extremely powerful because they had a real reason. They had a real purpose. And that's where we are right now. We're seeing Bitcoin is kind of sitting here in a little bit of limbo, similar to how that technology worked, similar to how indoor plumbing works. You know, indoor plumbing, take a wild guess. How old is indoor plumbing? 100 years? 120 years? 140 years? Try 3,000 years. The Romans had indoor plumbing. You know that, right? They had sewers. That technology was dormant for 2,000 years because society wasn't ready for it. Because the infrastructure that you need in a society to build a city with plumbing, you need a very advanced metallurgical civilization. You also need a city that's not going to be looted every 10 years by Vikings. You had to wait for centuries, millennia, before that technology became prevalent. Now in the first world, you probably have indoor plumbing. Everybody in the world doesn't, but most people do. It's taken for granted. That technology sat dormant for thousands of years. I'm not saying Bitcoin's going to sit dormant for thousands of years, but my point is technology has to be able to thrive in the environment which it finds itself in. You put a lion in Antarctica and that thing is going to freeze and fall over. You put me in Antarctica, I'm going to freeze and fall over. You put me in Africa next to the lion and I'm going to fall over bloody. You put me in the wrong environment, I'm not going to succeed. You put the lion in the wrong environment, he's not going to succeed. You put Bitcoin in the wrong environment, it's not going to succeed as well as it could. That's what I'm getting at. The environment for this decade is a lot different than the environment of the last decade. And it's very difficult to forecast exactly what that's going to look like. I think Bitcoin has a strong enough ideology and a strong enough use case and backing and necessity that it will do very well this decade. Many of the other cryptocurrencies, probably not so much. People have made fun of me because they'll say, Jebb, what do you think about this coin? I say, I don't know. I don't study altcoins too much. And they're like, Jebb, what do you mean? I thought you were an expert in technical analysis. What do you mean you don't know all about this altcoin? Guys, 99% of altcoins are going to disappear. I'm not going to waste my time studying a cryptocurrency that I'm never going to invest in. I've studied Bitcoin and Ethereum extensively, and Cardano, and a few others. I've studied Chainlink and Polkadot, and a lot of the other top 10. They're pretty good. Binance. The vast majority of cryptocurrencies are going away this decade. 95% of cryptocurrencies will lose 95% of their market capitalization this decade. There's a prediction for you. That's a hot take. A very popular hot take, but a hot take nonetheless in most cryptocurrency circles. I don't think Bitcoin will be one of them because it's the strongest. But I do think it will have a difficulty this decade. So, what does that mean on the short term? On the short term, Bitcoin is going to have to get above 25,236 before I consider it bullish again. Anything below that level, I'm considering this uptrend over, and I'm considering us at best in sideways accumulation, waiting for a bull flag to form to push us to the upside. Absolutely best case scenario if we're below 25,236. Worst case scenario, more realistic scenario as well, is that Bitcoin, as a result of not really having any bullish wind in its sails, is going to struggle. Why do I say that? Well, look at the chart, guys. I'll say this and we'll wrap it up here. When has Bitcoin rallied? The last 3 months, the only times that Bitcoin has rallied has been on bullish CPI data. It's not doing a lot of this rally of its own accord. Doing it because of macroeconomics. A lot of you guys make fun of me because, yeah, you're always talking about geopolitics. You're always talking about macro. Maybe you see why. What else has caused Bitcoin to rally $7,000 in 3 days recently? other than the macro and the geopolitics. Because, by the way, in case you don't realize, the reason that CPI is coming down is because of geopolitics. Because it had to go that high in the first place because so much printing was done as a result of the economy shutting down. We are still seeing the impacts of the pandemic right now. So when I talk about geopolitical events, when I talk about human culture and society and history, I'm not trying to stray away from the main point of Bitcoin. I'm trying to give you the framing for it. Because if you don't understand the context which Bitcoin is in, then you won't understand Bitcoin. You will not understand a painting if you just look at the subject. You must look at the subject and the negative space and the background. Because if you have an artist that is very talented, and I'm not one, by the way, but if you have a very talented artist, they're putting just as much work into the background as they are into the subject, because the whole background's job is to drive attention to and give you information about the subject. You look at any famous painting, it will look just like that. You look at it, the background, whether it's just a plain white background, whether it's a cityscape, whether it's a park with a bunch of kids playing, it's trying to tell you something. And that's my point. In Bitcoin, if you just look at the Bitcoin market and the Bitcoin chart, you are missing out on 90% of the information. All right? You're looking at the price, and you have no explanation for why it's doing what it's doing at all. So that's why we look at the technicals. That's why we look at the macro. That's why we look at the fundamentals. That's why we look at all these different metrics, and I think they are the major drivers of Bitcoin, and I am saying that based on looking at this market every single day and analyzing it as my full-time job. So you guys can tell me if you have a different opinion. I would love to hear it because I've been wrong before. I'm probably wrong about some things I'm saying right now, but I don't think I am on that. I believe that that is the biggest driver of Bitcoin, that being the macro and the macro and the geopolitical and the United States economic reasons behind the driving of the market. So again, what does Bitcoin do? Can't get above 25,236. It's probably going into a downtrend over the next few weeks, at least until it gets above that. It's in a downtrend until it gets above that level, quite simply. All right, let's read chat, and then we'll jump into... we'll go ahead and wrap it out. By the way, guys, do not forget, I mentioned this earlier, my father-in-law is putting on some tent meetings in Williston, Florida, and I will be there for the rest of the meetings is the plan. I'll tell you guys if I'm not going to be able to be there, but you can see the invite right here. This is the address, 12 Northwest 5th Place, Williston, Florida, 32696. I will be here tonight. Come on down. You can come Saturday, Sunday, March 18th and 19th, and hear the word preached and meet myself, and also feel free to... come and talk to Michael Sifka. He's the preacher, and he's the man that's putting it on, and he is, of course, also my father-in-law, and I'm very blessed to know him and definitely love him very much, and I'm excited for everything that the Lord is doing through his ministry, and we would love to see you guys come on down and hear the word be preached. I am, as you can see in this picture, I am the videographer at the meetings, so if you'd love to come and see the camera setup that I work with, or if you're just a camera nerd, come on down. We'd love to see you, and shout out to Win Peoples for responding to this tweet yesterday. Love to see you guys there. And also, guys, don't forget about Principles of Technical Analysis over in Club DeFi. If you guys are not in Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis, you are missing out, because quite simply, this is the best place in the entire cryptocurrency space to learn about technical analysis, because quite frankly, there's not a whole lot of other people teaching it. You know, that's kind of an easy thing to say, because there's not a lot of people teaching it, and I don't get it. I do not understand. Everybody in crypto is just looking at news, and they're not looking at the technicals. There's so much information in the chart that you're missing out on if you don't know how to read the market. You will definitely... This is very rare that I can say basically as close to definitely as I can. You will basically, definitely have the very best, I will say, you will definitely have the very best understanding of the way that Bitcoin is moving if you understand the technicals. You'll have a second-rate understanding of what Bitcoin is doing if you only look at the news. You'll have a second-rate understanding of what Bitcoin is doing if you only look at the macro and the geopolitical. Because the way that you really understand what the market is doing is by reading the technicals and then going back to the source and seeing what caused those technicals. You have to understand the price, then you can understand the inputs. But don't go over here and wandering over here and trying to figure out how German tank re-exports impact Bitcoin until you understand the technicals. You need to understand the Fed. You need to understand the balance sheet. You need to understand the SPY, but through the lens of the technicals. And that's why we started with the technicals. That's why we're teaching you the technicals every day here on the channel, and why we created Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis. That academy is designed to teach you everything that you need to know about technical analysis so that you can thrive in this space. And in over 60 videos, we're going to teach you everything that you need to know about technical analysis to get a strong start analyzing these markets so that you can make money in them and build financial sovereignty for you, yourself, your family, and your church, your community, whatever it is that you're trying to raise money for, whatever it is you're trying to provide for. I want you guys to succeed in cryptocurrency, and I promise you the best way to do so is learning technical analysis. You've not heard me say that very much in 5 years on YouTube where I promise you something. But I promise you, the best way to learn how to make money in cryptocurrency is by learning technical analysis. Mic drop. Not very often you're going to hear me say I promise anything. Learning technical analysis is the absolute necessity to make the most money in trading and investing. It's that simple. It is that simple. So, I would love for you guys to join us in Club DeFi and learn everything you can about technical analysis before the next bull market so that you are prepared to make as much money as you can. Check it out. Links in the description box down below. Let's go ahead and read some chat. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Lost the stream. My internet froze. Oh no! Freedom Advocate. I am so sorry to hear that. Hopefully you're back now. Papa Gus said, preach the word. Amen. Manly said, blessings, Jebb, for you and your family. Thank you so much. I appreciate getting the whole picture. Thanks, Jebb. Absolutely. Thank you so much, man. Queen said I would have to catch a flight. Catch a flight, Queen. Come on down. Come hear the word. Oh, man. Smash the like button and show a little respect and love for Jebb, folks. Thank you very much. Queen said Sarah got the goat. Goat means greatest of all time, I think is what he means. What she means, I'm sorry, Queen. She didn't know what that meant. I think that's what you mean. It's the little goat emoji, so I'm not sure if that's what you mean. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yesterday the Moon boys were out, now the Bears are out. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes, doesn't it? Gary Gensler in chat. Really? Where's Gary Gensler? Oh, he is. Look at that. It's Gary Gensler. Hey, man. Well, save your money. Don't count on the government to retire. Yeah, I wasn't ever planning on counting on the government to retire in the first place, so don't worry about that. Oh, Elvis Prabibaj. I'm not sure. Donated £20. Thank you so much for that. Hi, Jebb. Your indication helped me make over 10,000 Great British pounds in profit on my trades. I very much appreciate your help. Thanks a lot. Boom! That's exciting. That's what I love to see. That's what technical analysis can do. Look at that, guys. We got Elvis in the building. Elvis just told us that he made $10,000 in a trade because of the indications that we gave him. That is awesome. And guys, that's not, look, I don't want to take credit for that. That's just technical analysis. That's how powerful TA is. I'm just some random guy that spent the last 6 years learning everything he can about TA. You can do this too. There's nothing about what I do here that you can't do. Like, I'm not special. I'm just a guy that looks at the charts with an understanding of technical analysis. Everything I'm doing, you can too. Don't sit here and say, oh, Jebb's so smart. Oh, Jebb's got a YouTube channel. He's like magical in that. I'm not. I'm just a guy that looks at the charts based on the understanding of technical analysis that I've invested in my education in. I am just a model of what you can be in cryptocurrency. You can learn how to read these charts and do what Elvis just did. But you have to invest in your education. That's the gate and key. It's very simple. And you have to give it a few years. You got to be patient. It's not going to happen overnight. I'm not here to preach a get rich quick message. Not at all. I am here to preach a get financially sovereign in a controlled and mature and responsible way message. Let's see. Paul said, I paid for your technical analysis course last year and I have no access to your course. I've sent multiple emails to your team and no one responds to me. Oh no, Paul, check this out. I'm going to give you a solution to that because that is a known problem. I believe that is totally fixed now. If not, we will make sure to fix that. Send us one more email and we'll make sure we get to that. We had an issue with our customer service system a few weeks back, and that is now fixed. So we should be in good shape on that. Come over to bitcoinacademy.teachable.com. This is the homepage for Club DeFi. Scroll down here. Click CT2A. It's on the front page now. It was not there before, so it was kind of hard to find. Click CT2A. You can come here and you can see all of your CT2A videos. Make sure that you are logged in by coming up to the top here. This is the courses page. So come up here, make sure you're logged in by coming to the top here of the website. Make sure you're logged in right here. Log in, scroll down. Again, this is Bitcoin clubdefiacademy.teachable.com. You can just type Club DeFi into Google and it'll come up. Type in Club DeFi, boom, there it is. It's right there. Scroll down, hit that button. You'll be solid. Hit the login button. If that doesn't work, then there's an issue that we're not aware of because that seems to have fixed everybody's problem. All right, read a couple more chats here and then I will have to go. All right. Jebb's 100, invest time in low cap crypto and wait for long-term profits, do your own research. Yes, there are some of those where you will make a lot of money, by the way. I'm not trying to knock on every single small cap altcoin. There are a lot of them that will be good. A lot of them won't, but many of them will. You need to combine both, actually. I assume you're talking about technical and fundamental analysis. That's true. You do absolutely need both. News plus TA, smarter, safer and smarter trades. Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's why we talk about the macro and the geopolitics and the news. Totally agree with you. But if you're only going to get one, pick the TA. If you're going to start somewhere, pick the TA. Start with TA. You'll be much better off. All right, guys. We are going long here because I started a little bit late. I really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Make sure to sign up for Lux Algo and Club DeFi. There's a coupon code waiting for you if you're in CT2A or if you're in Club DeFi's beta. Shoot us an email, support@cryptojebb.com. We will get you a special made coupon code just for you. CT2A alumni get 25% off. Principles of Technical Analysis. And if you're in the beta, we've got a bunch of people that were in the beta want to sign up. You will get however much you put into the beta off as a coupon code for Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis. We have somebody right now that's about to join. They got $100 off on Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis. So make sure you go ahead and join Principles of Technical Analysis. Full launch. We're here now. You'll get lifetime access to it. So long as Club DeFi is around, so too will your membership. And it's never going anywhere. That's not the plan anyway, unless like the internet shuts down or something. Then I guess we'll mail you the course. That's not a promise. I don't know. Anyway, you've got coupon codes waiting for you, and you've got a lot of information and a financially sovereign future ahead of you if you so choose to take it. But of course, guys, I can't give it to you. I can give you as much information and knowledge and wisdom as I can, but I can lead you to water. I can't make you drink. So it takes work on your part. It takes discipline on your part. It takes a passion and a desire and a burning need to invest in yourself for some reason. So figure out what is it in your life that you're trying to build a financially sovereign lifestyle for. Are you trying to take care of your family? That's a huge motivator. Are you trying to raise money for some kind of ministry outreach? Are you trying to save money to buy a house? Whatever it is, find your why. I'm your what. I can help you with your what. That is learning TA and building a lifestyle, a wealth generation system, your income in cryptocurrency. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, come back every single day for Coffee and Crypto. Stay tuned for all of our videos that go up on Saturdays. The last two, I think you will really enjoy. Check them out. I am going to have to go. Before I do, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling. Got a real good feeling.